What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you guys are having a good end to your weekend. Hopefully you're having a good Sunday. Today's video, we're going to be talking about this upcoming Epics only Dragon tournament. I know it's not going to be a big priority to a lot of people, but Dragon is one of those dungeons that has a lot of options for you to complete, and having the Epic only modifier on it doesn't make it that much more difficult, which is really good, especially if the point thresholds for some of these higher end rewards is on the lower side. Then just spending a little bit of energy to get them might actually be worthwhile. So in this video, I'm going to go over some epic champions that you can actually use in your dragon tournaments to make life a little bit easier for you guys. You guys might have him maybe laying around the vault or maybe laying around unused, but for this dragon tournament with the epic modifier, epic champion modifier, it might actually be helpful to you guys. So I'll go over some of those right now. Quick note here actually is that it's also not a turn attack tournament. So basically you can take a squad of epic champions and it can take however long or how many turns, and it doesn't really matter. You'll still get credit for it as long as you can complete it. Also keep in mind that you can, if you have a solo champion, a solo epic champion, there are some that can do the dragon tournament. You can also farm food as long as your food champions are epic champions as well. So let's jump into some of the champions I want to talk about here that might be able to help you guys out. So if you guys go to Bannerlord, so I'm going to break this down by every faction. The champion like Archmage Helmet is a free champion you get from Doom Tower. He brings AoE stun, right? AoE stun can be really good to help you get through the waves, which is really good. Stag Knight's going to be really good as well with the AoE decreased defense, decreased attack. Very good. Decreased speed doesn't work on a dragon, but he's very good for the waves. It helps soften them up, so at least you can clear by. Ursula is also going to be very solid. She brings the team revive with the strength and increased defense. Might help you survive the dragon attacks. Very good champion overall. Hopping over to the High Elves. So for High Elves epics, I mean, I ran Tyrell for a long time in my dragon progression stage, and he is very fine. He brings decreased attack on his A1, decreased defense as well. This stun ability, turn meter drop, doesn't work on the dragon, but he's solid, right? He brings he's defense-based damage dealer, so he's not easy to kill. But the MVP for this faction is going to be Rollguard. Rollguard's max HP slam is going to be really good against the dragon. Big chunks off the dragon's life. Also brings A1 decreased defense. He's a bit squishy, so you need some support as well. Moving on to the Sacred Order here. Is there anybody here that's going to be really good? Deacon Armstrong. Very good. Just a general good champion overall. Speed in all battles. Decreased defense, turn meter boost, and the leech could be good to help you sustain against the dragon's big attacks, depending where you are in the progress as well. Godseeker is going to be okay here as well with the revive and some healing. Quick shout out here, actually Othar actually could be pretty good too. He brings multi-poison. Poison is what you need to kill the dragon. So if you're struggling with that, Othar could definitely help from the Sacred Order faction. For the barbarians, we got some pretty good, oh sorry, I misclick here. But for the barbarians, got some decent options here. We got Ferrican the Fat, very, very good champion. Ally attack for more damage, decreased defense on the A1, and then HP burn and poisons. Both HP burn and poisons are going to be very strong against the dragon. And, it deals a lot of damage for not having to gear out the champion with, high attack, full crit rate, and crit damage. So very, very good. Make sure you bring out the Fat Man. He's very, very solid champion. So onto the Ogren tribes here. Maneater is going to be pretty good because he brings the unkillable, lets you basically tank some of the dragon's damage, tank some of the wave damage so you can get through. Now, one of the standouts from this faction, the Ogren tribes, is actually Eurogrim. So Eurogrim, if you guys weren't around, was so OP. They nerfed him before, I think shortly after he was released, but they basically made this one. I think this one was initially 4 poisons, and then they nerfed it to 2 poisons. So he was so OP, they had to nerf him. But this guy can still do solo work against the dragons. So lower dragons, Eurogrim can still solo. He has a speed in all wars battle. He can self-heal himself. But he needs some pretty good stats. And usually to solo a boss, you need regeneration set. You need to be pretty quick. And sometimes you do need a resistance build as well, just so you don't get controlled by the waves. So that's general build, how you want to build like a solo champions. I'll show you guys some of my solo champions for dragon afterwards, but this time we're just talking about the epics right now. So in terms of the Lizardmen, one of the goats for this dungeon is actually going to be Venomage. Venomage is good in a lot of places, especially early on, like Clan Boss. He's good against Amius because he brings the heal reduction as well. But the big thing about him is that decreased defense, decreased attack, and then places the poisons, which is really, really strong here as well. Brings a little bit of damage reduction as well. Great champion. He can, actually, she can pretty much solo the dragon as well. Yeah, she can solo the dragon by herself for sure. If you got her in the right build, she can definitely do it. So moving on from the Lizardmen, let's hop over to Skinwalkers real quick. Anybody here that's worth noting? Fane can be good. Fane's a little bit squishy. She's a free champion in some of those promos. You got the poisons here with a decreased attack, which is really good, and a decreased defense and weaken. So bring her along with the team. She's not going to be a solo champion, but bring her along in a team, and she can do a lot of damage for you against the dragon boss. Moving on to the orcs. In terms of the epics, obviously Seer is going to be really good in a epic only team, one of the best. Probably most people will be looking for Seer type teams just so they can speed up their runs. Another champion that's actually really good is actually Liburga. I used Liburga before in a couple teams with Stultus, but those are more specific. But she's actually a pretty good champion in terms of just poisons. So you got the poisons here with the poison sensitivity. She got the increased defense to stay alive, and then she has the chance to increase the duration of poisons too. So she's actually okay. She's a free champion from the Doom Tower, I believe. I want to say Doom Tower, but she's pretty late in the game, so maybe you guys got some better options than her. Moving on to the demon spawn for the epics here. I think there's not too many standouts here that are particularly like specifically good for dragon, but like Magnar's good against waves. You got Dur here for a revive, which can be okay. Akoth could be helpful with the HP burn. He's not going to be able to solo the dragon, I don't think, just because the HP burn won't be able to kill him fast enough. But ideally, like I said, you're looking for a poison champion to lay down the poisons against the big dragon. Moving on to the undead here. Gore Grab's going to be good against the waves just to give you some turn meter boost, and of course keeping your team alive with the revive. Bogoth could be helpful as well. Bogoth's passive basically heals your whole team when he takes damage. If you build him kind of, make him nice and plump so that he can absorb some damage so you can heal your team, it might be okay. Annex could provide some additional damage as well with the poisons, as well as decreased defense and a weaken here, so he could do some extra work as well. And I mean, you could throw Husk in there as well. Husk does max HP hit, which can be pretty strong against the dragon. Really depends, right? But you have some options there from the undead hordes. Moving on to the high elves. Actually, big shout out here, even though it's not a undead, big shout out in the undead faction is Frozen Banshee. She's one of the best in terms of killing the dragon, make her fast in a regen set. She just machine guns down the dragon. For the high elves, I mean, for the epics, one of the best would be Dark Hail. I haven't found too many uses for Dark Hail, but in a situation like this, epic only dragon, he's going to be insane, right? He places tons of poisons. He activates them so the runs are faster. Also places decreased attack. Like, he's made to deal against the dragon, right? He's made to deal tons and tons of damage against him, and he's going to be the MVP from this faction. Dark Hail, I believe, is the second epic you get from Doom Towers. Doom Tower clearing the secret rooms, I believe, in normal difficulty. He's worth it to have. I personally don't use him myself, but he can definitely do some work. Moving on to the Knight Revenant. Tons of epics here. A lot of support champions here to help get your team to the finish line. Rector Draft's good for the heals. Support Doom Priest good for the heals and debuff cleansing. You have Sabathia here, can do the increased defense and the revive. You got some wave clear champions. Miscreate Monster can be okay to help keep your team alive, getting to the dragon. But there's no real super good solo champion here, or champion that can really take on the dragon from the Knight Revs. Moving on to the dwarves, Geomancer is going to be decent. Mytha is going to be decent as well, even just for wave clearing or just surviving some of the waves. Same can be said about Malga with the revive and shield there. So a little bit of survivability, and then you got the damage dealer like Geomancer. For the Shadowkins, in terms of the solid epics here, I find that Shadowkin is really lacking super good standout epics. I mean, you have Taragi here, and he's pretty much going to be it. Taragi is really good, like just overall, but he brings decreased attack, and then he has a passive that lands poison against the boss. That can definitely help you do some damage against the dragon. Also has Provoke to control the waves and a little bit of shielding and ally protection here on the A3. So I would say Taragi is a pretty decent epic to help you progress through to get to the dragon. And then lastly, for the Sylvan Watchers, you do have some options here for Priest Ornn. Priest Ornn can solo the dragon. So you can bring Priest Ornn in a strong regen, strong immortal set, make him fast. But you know, obviously high stats, resistance and accuracy, and then you can get him to the boss and he can solo the boss. Priest Ornn is pretty good in terms of survivability because he has a passive that keeps himself, you know, a little bit uh, more basically survive the waves a little bit better and the boss a little bit better. Poison sensitivity with the poisons here, instant activation on the A2, and then some poisons on the A1. So he's really good. He would be a good option to do like the solo strat for this event. There's some good epics here. Obviously, Nia can be good in the right build. Daithi can be good just for wave clearing, for example. And even somebody like Dual Dan can be good just to help keep your team alive against the waves. So for me, I'm probably going to use my Priest Ornn here just to do some solo farming. If you want to do basically dungeon levels like 20 to 25, you're looking at about 300 resistance, 200-ish accuracy. Looking for a full regen set, ideally with immortal gear, and at least 200 speed. I would say closer to 220. If you're planning to do hard mode, there's not going to be too many super strong epics that can solo hard mode. Priest Ornn might be able to solo hard mode the lower levels maybe with similar gear, but you're going to be looking for about 400 plus resistance with about 300 plus accuracy, and ideally maybe 250 plus speed. In terms of overall HP, you know, normal mode, you're looking about maybe 60k HP, but for hard mode, you're probably looking for 75 plus HP. If you want to build them to like really do a lot of work, maybe War Master can help speed up the boss killing, but sometimes having the mastery here, Oppressor is really good at just giving you some extra turns so that you can, you know, basically heal up and survive. But yeah, so you do have some options here for solo champions. Eurogrim can kind of do the same thing, but I would probably recommend trying to do maybe normal dungeons if you just want to get it done. There is a 3x boost on speed gear coming up for this dragon tournament duration, so it might be worthwhile to farm higher levels. But if you're not, then farming lower levels is fine. Like I said, there's some decent rewards that you usually don't see in some of these regular tournaments, these dungeon tournaments, like for example the middle stone and the primal quartz and stuff. So it might be worthwhile just to throw some energy in just to get those rewards. Anyways, folks, just a quick video here just to highlight some epics that might help you guys out in terms of progressing through the dragon. Like I said, there are some solo options, but you need some pretty good gear or specific builds to handle this dungeon, so keep that in mind when you guys are slugging through. Anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for me today. Hopefully you guys are having a good day, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.